What's good? What's good? Can't hear y'all right now.
All right, can you hear us now?
We locked
There
in.
you
What's
go.
up?
Yeah, here we go.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, bro? Slowly.
Yo, all good vibes tonight. You know, we eating good. We in the building. You know how we do.
Yo, man, listen, man. I'm your host, Moshe Canty. I'm here with my co-host, Mikey B, my other co-host, KK. We're here with a special guest right here who we won't introduce to the public, but this is our brother, Abdul Kabir.
Absolutely.
New Jersey's finest.
Absolutely.
Straight
from Eastwick.
Straight from Eastwick. We got a story to tell y'all tonight, man. But before we get there, man, shout it out to everybody that's tuned in during this holy month of Ramadan, man. Right now, man, we just finished breaking fast. We got our brother Taha in the building, our young brother Nasir, our young brother Amir. You know, we just
I got to do that right now.
Don't get it twisted, man. We got the lamb and the rice. We eating, y'all.
We eating, still eating.
And who thought? Cause it's been some things out there saying people out there was disbanded or something, like we wasn't still on the set. Who said that? Well, y'all lied out there. Who said?
CDP, what's up?
What's up, cuz? I see you, Jay Renee. What's going on with y'all out there, man? We love all y'all, man. We miss y'all. Wax AP. Shout out to John Shav 139, Walla Walla Wax AP, everybody. Sadie B, so you pull up on your cousin, you don't call your cousin or FaceTime your cousin no more, but you got time to pull up on YouTube, right? That's what we doing now.
Huh?
Talk
to him.
Yeah, I'm talking to him, man.
Okay, what's up, bro?
I knew it since 19.
And now I'm about to start eating right now too. I just broke my fast just now.
Alhamdulillah. I mean. Yeah, so we got a story to tell, man. You know, man, we wanted to come back right and exact. We didn't want to waste any time. We didn't want to play no games with it. As y'all see, man, we huddled in, man. You know, oh look at Dougie Doug. We love you too, Doug.
Doug in the building. Wax B.
Oh, word?
Yeah, Dougie Ho. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh, word, Dougie. Yo, Dougie, what up, man?
Yo, so yeah, listen, man. Yeah, y'all in y'all sabbatical. Yeah, we had to take a little time off, man. A lot of stuff's been going on in our lives, man. KK's been very busy. I've been very busy, as Mikey has as well. You know, we communicate with each other frequently, but at the same time, you know, we doing a lot of things individually. So whenever we have the opportunity, man, we make it our business to come back here and show love. But we didn't want to leave everybody waiting because we got so many different stories we want to talk about, man. But there's so many untold stories that y'all don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, the brother Abdul Kabir, man, he could do a better job of basically introducing himself, letting us know where he's from, man, and then we'll get to start asking him some questions, man. But you know, I turn it over to my big brother right here, Abdul Kabir. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Wa alaikum salam. Greetings to everyone. For those who do know me, you know, I was part of a situation over 30-something years ago that landed me in prison and made me wind up doing 32 years to life sentence. But my sentence initially was 97 years to life. That's 3 years short of 100. I'm still on life parole. In regards to that matter, the people that I was involved in were family members. And, you know, one of them I would like to say, you know, from a lawyer came into a lawyer's turn, was my first cousin, Bilal. Bilal was a young, aspiring brother who, you know, like many of us, we was out in the hood and we was trying to do things and live and try to make things happen from the best way we knew how. You know, and sometimes that struggle that we understand and know how may come from engaging in, you know, non-violent crimes or violent crimes. You know, that doesn't mean it's right. It still makes a sense, though, that we do these things just to try to justify our own behaviors. And those behaviors, most of the time, is called modification. And these modifications is that we actually believe that the things that we do that are wrong are right. So having said that, me being part of that, and this here was called, what they found out many years later was E4 posse and everything else. It wound up giving me a sentence. And the sentence had been charging me with 1,000 feet of a school and possession of narcotics and everything. Then I wound up being caught up into a murder that was in New York. And the murder gave me a 25 to life sentence. they didn't want to let me out. And I felt bad because at the same time, my cousin Bilal, he wound up killing himself. He was 19 years old. He was facing the death penalty. And when he passed away, that was striking to all those who were with him. And then you have many others that later on in life chose to do other things as well. But the brothers that did chose to do other things, well, today we shine, saying that we done come out of our situation that was bad and found our situation to make it good. On June 19th of 2020, I was supposed to be released just to show you how the system worked. Instead of them releasing me, they actually had a van out there, armed guarded van that was bulletproof out to take me back to Jersey. And I had already received the reversal in 1991. And they were saying, no, well, you owe some more time. That was a crushing thing because my wife, Sweeta, she was out in the parking lot along with our daughter, Amina, waiting for me to come out. And it had already been a struggle because my mom had just died several years before that, in 2016. And one of the things she said to me before she passed was, she said, I can't wait no longer. She said, I waited already 26 years and I can't hold on. My body's breaking down. You know, the cancer took over, took the best of her. And she died. She returned to Allah. From Allah she came, to Allah she returned. But at that time, and times before that, throughout the course of my incarceration, I learned what loyalty and commitment was. And that was something that was important to help me educate myself to say, I never want to come back to that again. And I never want to revisit sitting in a cell for nobody, right? Although I won't compromise my principle, I won't do that. So in that regard, it meant that there was a brother, his name was Yaga. And I never forget, you know, shout out to Yaga, wherever he at right now, if you're looking at it. Him and his wife actually went and talked to my mom and said, say anything you want to him. And they videotaped it. And I keep that chip to this day up under this watch that I have. That was the first watch I got coming out of prison. And it was a touching thing because it meant something to me because it said that this man did this out of the love that he had for me. And there was other things throughout the course of the 30-something years that showed this loyalty and commitment from many others, such as my brother Musa, such as Mikey B, KK. You know, all these brothers are brothers I actually done time with. You know, y'all seen Blue Boy on there. Blue Boy, shout out to him. You know, that's my guy right there. You know, Randy Love, that's my brother. You know, without question, and so many others. You know, and the way that you see me today is not something that I put a facade on to be. This is something I did 30-some years straight. I was that guy in the yard. I was that guy in the masjid. I was that guy in the hallway doing the same thing, calling to the right guidance and everything else. And there was a time for wrong guidance. That was when something was out of line that needed to be addressed. If it had to be addressed, then it was addressed, plain and simple. And there's no cut chase about it. But if it didn't, then it wasn't. And it was more so about me learning how to rehabilitate myself. Because where I came from in the streets of New Jersey, I came from what was called Elizabeth Port. Considered the worst part. About 9 years old, 10 years old, I lived in North, what people know today be called Brick City. I lived on South 16th Street and Orange Avenue. And then my mom moved a couple blocks over South 18th Street and Orange Avenue. And at that time, you know, you had to be tough. You couldn't fake being tough. So you would fight coming upstairs, going to the store, you fight going downstairs. You know, if you had a pack of Now Ladies, you fought for that. If you had some bubble gum, you fought for that. You know, and everything became a fight. So you knew this is how I would live, you know, in my life outside of where I live at, you know. And those lessons at that time also were grateful because it showed me that I had to be strong even in adversity. So some of it prepared me for certain things I encountered in prison, but it also prepared me for the life skills of enduring problems and hardship, because I didn't realize that once I got on that diesel fuel bus, it was going to take me all across the state of New York and then some across the country serving time. And that was the hardest part. I think I've been to every maximum security prison there is in New York State.
Question, though, bro. Cause like you was going on, you was like spreading the story. What was the actual charges though? You originally got convicted for?
I was charged with intentional murder, felony murder, robbery, running strong arm operations, possession of narcotics within 1,000 feet of school, employing juveniles to sell narcotics, and possession of contraband, what they considered substance, and possession of money from legal activity.
So the original sentence was what? Not you said. What was the original sentence?
97 years of life total.
Crazy.
It was 72 years in Jersey, 25 to life in New York. And I'm still on life parole right now.
What I don't understand is, and when we were all locked up in Shawanga, Mikey B, you remember this? Kabir had already, I think, like 30 years in. So at that time, he had already made his board. And we kind of already expected him, once he made his board, to kind of like leave. So he had 30 years in prison. I want you guys to take this into consideration, that the New York State, through their parole board, they actually granted him parole. And they then gave him the impression that he would be released to his family. But the New Jersey authorities then came and stated that he owed them time, which he already thought that he did not owe them. So he had to go through a whole legal process of then fighting the courts out there, fighting them out there to kind of like get that, not so much get the time back, but to prove that he didn't owe them any time, but you spent 2 years fighting for your freedom while you was in New Jersey.
Absolutely. And the judge, once I filed the paperwork, the judge, he wound up agreeing, because COVID had happened. And once he said that, what happened was he said, I agree that we've made a mistake, because I had the decision from the appellate division. Because when I first went down there, I was initially sent to Trenton State Prison. Trenton State Prison is considered one of the worstest prisons there. I didn't see no judge or nothing. I was just zoomed there, straight there. Trenton Prison said, we can't have you here, because everybody here, they're still serving 40, 50 years. You don't even have 40 or 50 years, And they sent me over to the reception place called Crab. And when I went over to Crab, and thank you for the people who helped me there, the counsel and everything. She said, I think you need this paper right here, and you could give it to your lawyer. And I gave it to my lawyer, and the paper said that this sentence is reversed and remanded, and that this time was under the consideration to be served in New York, concurrently with New York sentence. That time never went like that. And because they didn't want guys out like me, or guys that was like me, because I'm no longer that person that I was when I went in. I'm truly different today. The guys that were with me, many of us, we were relatives, and some of us, we was friends and close comrades from the sandbox, and we caused hell. You understand what I'm saying? So the hell that we caused, they knew that. And it was like, no, if these guys could think this at 15, 14, 13, there was guys that was with us that was 11 years old. And they like, if we could do that, then we don't need nothing else. So once I did that and I filed the paperwork and got it, and I showed it to the judge, he said, we agree, we got to get this guy back. They got me back to a parole board immediately. And the parole board said, man, we granting you release.
Let me ask you this. Catching a case in prison and in New York, and being from New Jersey, how was it? Give me a little background on. You went through Rikers Island?
Yeah.
Let me know how that was. What year was that? How was that?
I was on Rikers Island from 1988 to 1991.
How old was you?
I had just turned 18 when they brought me from Trenton to Rikers Island. Rikers Island was crazy as hell. There was no such thing as stunting and fronting in Rikers Island. At that time, the song had just came out. You won't be smiling on Rikers Island, all that crazy stuff, right? And guys were so real with what they was doing that you had guys that was putting work in just to make a name for themselves, because being on Rikers Island meant that you had to show who you was. I got so bad at one time, I didn't realize how bad I was. I wound up traveling the whole Rikers Island one night. I went from C73 to C71. From C71, I'm popping off in the bullpen. Dude's like, yo, you from Jersey? They jumping me. Let's get to it then. We going.
So you had to really like,
and you gotta put up.
You had to go because you from Jersey. You get your name known.
Yeah, and then you had the cats that knew me, that had love for me genuinely, and I used to make connections with these guys in the streets. And because I used to make these connections with the guys, they was like, yo, man, that's bro right there. There was times I slept in the
So you didn't know anybody on Rikers Island when you were down there?
Yeah, I knew like guys like my man Chicky, Randy Love, all of, because these guys from uptown, so these guys was in the game. So now I go up there and I go see these guys and do whatever I was doing, on the things that I was involved in. And then there was guys from Brooklyn I knew I would go and see. And then there was guys from Queens I knew, shout out to Robo Justin, all of them, God B, Supreme, Salim, his co-defendant Muhammad. All these are my guys. So I'm there on Rikers Island. They done bought me sneakers, everything. They like, yo, you here with the team right now,
So were you Muslim at that time?
Yeah.
You were Muslim at that time?
Yeah, I was cutting the food.
I mean, I was in HDM. Even though I wasn't Muslim, on Rikers Island, you wear on your shirt, you wear your ID card. I sent it to you.
No, I need it for somebody.
Just go to YouTube. But at the time when I was on Rikers Island, I was coming through. I wasn't Muslim, but I was halal.
Right.
I ate halal. I didn't eat pork or none of that stuff, So I had got into something with the police down there.
Right.
And the Muslim brothers just formed like, yo. So were the Muslims strong at that time? Were they assisting you with what you was going through? How was that?
Oh yeah, well, see, when I first came in, most of the brothers that knew me, they all knew me by the name Father God. You know what I'm saying? And on the streets, that's what they call me. Like they knew me by Father God, and then those who were real close to me, they were like, "Yo, what's the name?" It was like, "That's the Black Don." That's what's on my stomach. So now, when these guys knew, but the Muslim brothers knew, they said, "Nah, that's the Muslim brother." His name is Kabir. They don't call him none of that God. None of that stuff there. So once they see that, they say, yo, who fighting? Because in the meantime, they didn't even know it. But I wouldn't even wait for them to come and assist, because one time I got into it and the brothers came, they came in the dorm. I'm in the dorm. I ain't never been in the dorm since then. They put so much work in. They came in the dorm. The door was open. The C opened the door, and they just came and stormed the dorm like 20 feet. And next thing you know, the whole spot, they just popping. And I'm like, yo, what the heck? I don't know. I'm new to Rikers. I don't really know what's going on. I just went to the mosque and told the brother's like, yo, what happened to your shoulder? I had like a scratch on my shoulder. I said, no, me and the brother got into it. He said, oh, yeah. And I don't know that everything that's about to happen in the next 20 minutes or so was about to be crazy. You know what I mean? And next thing I know, I'm being cuffed up. I'm taking HDM. At this time, HDM was called the House of Dead Men. And
HDM was wicked.
Yeah, and you had a sign up that says "Out like a lion, in like a lion, out like a lamb." I never forget that sign. It was in the front. So Captain Sanchez and them, they was like, "Yo, Lo, man, I'm slim." They like, "You all right with your jewelry?" Because guys is getting robbed left and right. I said, "I'm all right." I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good." Let me go do what I do. I'm in a bullpen. I ain't in a bullpen 20 minutes. I'm into a fight. We knuckling up. Boom, 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 boom. And after that, they like, you going to the Bing. I said, all right, we going to the Bing.
All right. So you stayed on a Rikers Island to 1991.
Yeah.
You came upstate, downstate?
Yeah, downstate.
How long were you in downstate for?
I was downstate for like 6 months. They didn't know what jail to send me to because I had so many separatees.
It was lit?
Yeah. Downstate was in the way downstate is.
They closed it down.
Yeah, I heard it.
They just recently closed it down.
Yeah, but the way downstate is then.
Yeah, compared to community.
Back then, like you could be, if you got beef, I just give you an example. You can have beef with a person and you go into the shower to get a shower. And you're in downstate, the person see you in a bullpen. They run out the bullpen, pop on you, pop on police, and then take it on a hop.
Yeah.
It's like this is just what it is.
A lot of stuff was going down in the mess hall and downstairs.
Yeah, and the mess hall dudes walking around, they got joints yay big. Like
when I was in the 90s, it was lit too. It was going down in the mess hall.
Yeah,
it was definitely real. Downstate was definitely dangerous.
Yeah, it was definitely real.
In the hallways, popping up the lines.
Yeah, Yeah,
definitely dangerous.
And it was like you controlled yourself, you carry discipline, you carry respect, and that was one of the things that was always important to me. Old heads always told me, said, man, you just keep this thing respectful, man. You know what I mean? And the elders school me. I had a lot of brothers that embraced me. Brothers like Abdul Majid, that was part of the Black Panther Party. Jalil Mutakin, Herman Bell. So just so many others.
Yeah, we had Jalil up here.
Yeah, even with Damu, brothers
The
that's
elder,
Damu.
yeah.
There was brothers before there was Damu. You had things that was happening, and you had the Nubians and everything else. And these are brothers that embraced me, and it was like, listen, you our brother, man. You know what I mean? So brothers like Wag and Zulu, the old time that died, George Llewellyn, may he rest in peace. It was cast that was just genuine, and their love was genuine. So they kept it official with me, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like no phony stuff. Whereas though now, today I'm here with you, and then tomorrow, next thing you know, you're trying to sneak me and stab me in the back or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That just was like unheard of. You had cats like Nuke that was like, listen, this is my brother. You know what I mean? We going back to back. Kid named Kevin Watson from Uptown. Me and him in a C-74 in the day room, and we going at it.
Was the other Kabir on Rikers Island with you from Jersey?
He was on Rikers Island, but we wasn't in the same houses. We wind up getting together after we was upstate for a while.
Yeah, it's two legendary Kabirs from Jersey. He's one, and we know the other one as well.
Yeah.
Kabir is gonna be coming through. We talk to Kabir all the time.
Yeah.
But big up to the other Kabir too. Yeah. Y'all was on Rikers Island together?
Yeah, we was on Rikers Island, but we wasn't in the same building at the time. He was in another building when
he was already Muslim too?
Yeah.
And already Kabir too?
Yeah. yeah.
So that's something to see, because I was in Attica with both of y'all.
Yeah.
We was both in Attica in 2005.
Right. There was a time that, there was things that would happen, and guys would think that I was him, or he was thinking that I was me.
Because he go by Boxing Kabir.
Yeah,
he go by Boxing Kabir.
And it's crazy because both of us box.
I know both of y'all box.
Yeah.
I know.
And
we don't in the gym.
Yeah.
You already know. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, we was in C Block in Attica. Me, him, and the other Kabir too. We was all over there. A bunch of guys over there with us in 2005 in Attica. We was all over there together.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So after you left downstate, what prison did you go to? Your first prison?
The first prison I went to after I left downstate was Elmira.
Wow. What year? 91?
Yeah, Elmira was off the hook. Elmira, they probably had like about 100 slashings. Like literally, like in a week's time, in 1 week, if it's 7 days in a week, you have about 20 slashes in 1 week. It literally in Elmira.
A lot of people talk about Attica and Clinton and Comstock as being the worst jails in New York State on maximum security. But to me, Elmira is the worst prison, because let me tell you something. The most guys that you heard about with big names, legendary guys, almost all of them got hit in Elmira.
Yeah.
If you do the knowledge and you hear the backstories, a lot of these guys, the most stuff goes down in Elmira. That's like the worst prison for people getting shot or stabbed is Elmira, because it's in the center of New York. Southport is right there, and everybody converges to that. It's just like a hub jail. It's like a hub prison, and the culture of that prison is loose. The police is loose. They letting dudes go, and it's lit. But
Elmira was off the chain.
Real quick, hit that like and subscribe button, please, y'all. Y'all tuned in to We Locked In. I see my man T Powers up there. Yo, T Power, man, shout it out, man. That's my brother right there. That is my brother out there. But I know you would speak. I know I had to left. I had to speak to the brother he just called, the brother Sinna Salam, the brother Abdul Malik.
Yeah, definitely.
My brother, he has life in prison. Then keep that in mind, y'all. We just got off the phone with a brother who has natural life in prison without the possibility of parole. So Mikey B asked a question before I left about the prison culture at the time, and you obviously being from Jersey, having to fight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you were very young. You were a teenager essentially.
Yeah.
And you were 19 when you went in. And you came home at what age? 18. Yeah. And you came home at what age?
I turned 19. I actually turned 19 in C95.
And what age did you come home?
I came home at 51.
The brother said he went in at 19 and came home at the age of 51.
Crazy, bro.
51. So this is what the problem is that I say is about the system, right? And I understand the whole thing about, you know, being held accountable for your crimes and stuff like that. But the man spent 32 years in prison. And not to take anything away from what he already has admitted to, but is the system really, really helping us overall as a people, or just in general, if we're locking our people up just for the sake of doing so for 30-something years?
Yeah, for an exorbitant amount of time.
Is that solving the problem, KK? Like, I'll just be honest, like 30-something years, they couldn't solve that in 5? They couldn't solve.
It's crazy because studies was coming out. I remember I used to go see documentaries and watch stuff, and they would actually admit to the degeneration that has, like when a person does over 10, 15 years, and like what it actually does to a person. So they actually know that, but then you still do it. They still do it because they know a certain amount of times it becomes counterproductive. It's like, all right, once you reach a certain amount of years in prison, it's like, you know, mentally it's going to be a shift. Either you just fall in line like, all right, this is it for me. This is what I am, or, you know, in rare cases, like such as yourself, myself, like rare cases, you find guys like, just, you know what, I'm just going to keep pushing through no matter what. You know what I'm saying? My freedom ain't determined and ain't based upon me being inside the cell. You know what I'm saying? That's not what my freedom is based upon. And when those like us that actually understand that and understand what freedom is, it's like, yeah, man.
But you know, one thing that is reality that I never discussed, and I'm gonna share this because y'all get this part here because y'all are my brothers, right? And the people that's out there listening, you know, take note of something for one moment. I went to trial, and I was offered 8 years if I made a deal. Right?
So you was offered 8 years?
Yeah, I was offered 8 years. 8 years was that you become an informant for us and you make agreement.
Wow. They want you to become an informant for 8 years?
Yeah.
And these dudes they just strip you of all your dignity. Just take everything.
So they was like,
crazy.
This is what you do, right? So now the guy that's supposed to be with me, right, he winds up copping out. They give him 15 to 45. They reverse his case and drop it down to 8 1/3 to 25, right? And he admits to being a killer in this case, right? And I never admitted. I'm telling them I'm already somewhere else when this case supposed to went down, when the body dropped inside the crib and everything with this dude, and supposed to took the money and everything else and the drugs and all this other stuff. So now he admits that, but the judge banged me out, and the judge gave me 25 to life, right? And you look at the sentencing minutes, and you know I tell the judge, you do what you got to do. I said I'm a black man, I'm proud of it, because at the end of the day, I said who do you see mostly upstate? I said, you see mostly black and Latino. And this was an actual fact. This is a fact today. When you look at 2.5 million that sit across the country inside of these prisons, they're black and Latino. That's what the populace is. And when you're looking at the count and everything else of them getting nearly $70,000 and everything, you know, I used to tell guys this in the yard, and guys act like they didn't want to hear the politics. I said, you don't want to hear the politics because you're engaged in politics. See, there's a difference. You know, and when you start to talk sense to people who want to just be ignorant, after 20-some years of them losing their lives, now they want to think, where the library at? You know, you should be thinking about the library now, because this is where the elders dropped on my lap. You know, and when they dropped the pearls on my lap, it allowed me to pick them up. And I said, this is what the system is. I told this man about this here all this time ago, that this is what the system is. I'm a kid telling him this. You understand what I'm saying? Because I knew they wanted to bang me out just because I went to trial and I refused to make the agreement that they wanted me to make.
So instead of becoming a government, a government whore, for lack of a better term, you know, you ended up doing 32 years as a result of that.
Right.
We're at We Locked In, y'all. This is, you know, Mikey B, KK Moshe. We're here with our special guest, man, Abdul Kabir. One thing we know, man, all of us know each other, and we've all been together. We've all been on the inside together. We can vouch for each other, man. I mean, you know, we know that you were wilding out in prison, and you know, you was doing your thing, whatever it could be like that. But let's speak about one. I want to talk because I know you personally.
Right.
You know, I've sat in the mosque with you. We done cried together. You know, we done had some high moments together, right?
Yeah, me too. I was in the class with him. We was in the class for about 2 years together.
Yeah, you know, we
Exodus, right?
Exodus. Yo, we always
We
in
was in the class
together.
for 2 years together in prison.
And I want to speak about.
They don't get these stories.
No, they don't get some.
They get the slashes. They get the stabbings that we did. They don't know we sat down.
Yeah, and
all
cried.
the time, cried, studied,
like babies.
You know, worked. Our families know each other. Our wives know each other from prison.
Right.
On site, they can, you know. So you know. Speaking of wives, how you doing, wifey? I used to listen to Kabir's wife speaking for us while I was in prison
how you doing,
on the show. What's the name of that show? Voices Beyond the Wall.
Yeah, Voices Beyond the Wall.
Yeah, his wife will come up there and be on the show, and we would listen to the show in prison, and his wife was on the show. You know,
Word.
So these are the stories we trying to give y'all. These stories, these positive stories. All this time that I knew Kabir, besides when I retired, I'm retired now from being blood gangbanging. I was blood, and I knew Kabir, and we had a relationship.
Absolutely.
Kabir has written books. I actually edited one of his books. I typed the whole book up. He has his handwriting is horrible. I had to like decipher that. I edited his book. He ain't even put his book out yet. I got a company, so we gonna put the book out. But
yo, this is we locked in. We ain't cutting no corners.
This we locked in.
This we locked in.
But
he's since gotten better, a lot better.
No, this is the type of stuff that we do in prison that y'all don't get to hear about. You know, we authors, we writing books, we trying to do things to better ourselves and come out here and support ourselves in the community. You know, and we want to show y'all these positive things, not just the stories of the violence and all that stuff. I mean, we'll talk about that as well. But here, one of the major things I want Kabir to talk about is his change in prison. When did he make that change?
I wanted to get to that, Mikey.
Come on.
But I want to talk about because before you can get to the change, you got to start looking at yourself to realize you want to change.
Right.
Was there nights, and I want to kind of segue into Mikey's question. Were there nights in those cells where you was crying? Because there's a lot of young people out here listening. Like an individual that might be tapped into the culture. They might be out there in the streets thinking that the street life is all right. Then that's all right. You whatever choices you make, that's on you. But were there times when you were literally in your cell crying your heart out that you wanted to get the hell out of prison?
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
and didn't lead that into Mikey's question of, you know, did that help contribute to you wanting to change while you were in prison?
Well, you know, one of the things that I wanted to first not be was impulsive. A lot of times when you're in prison and you're young, you're impulsive. So you respond impulsively. Somebody violates you, somebody crosses you, you respond. Now you have to learn control and self-control of self. And in working on that, that was the hardest part for me because I didn't want to not, I love you too, little bro. I see my little brother, he just put a shout out there. You know, I had to want to not be in the mix. And I had wanted to get away from the mix because the mix wound up losing so many people in my life. My baby sister and everything, my grandfather, you know, my grandfather cared for me since I was a little boy. And I watched, you know, him being murdered, you know. So I had to sit on my bed and I had to look at the mirror. Not so much the mirror itself, but I had to look at the mirror, a reflection of me, and say, where am I going? Am I going to die in prison? Or I'm going to try to get out of prison? If I'm going to try to get out of prison, then there's work that I need to do. And that meant that I had to change me. I had to think about what I was doing, you know, and how I was doing it because I was being ignorant. So, you know, I would cry sometimes. I would get up under my pillow, you know, and I just throw my pillow on my face and just tears would run down my eyes. And I said, man, I got to be better. I got to do better. I got to want better. But the only way I'm going to do better and want better is that I got to believe that the Creator, for one, is going to do everything that he promised in the book. And then two, that I'm going to still get that same love from my family that I had already gotten. And if I didn't, then I didn't want them in my life. So there's people that's my family that had not been in my life for 30 something years, you know, and I always think like my cousins and all of them, you know, they had been out my life, and they wonder why
Yep.
I wouldn't want no visits from them or none of that. But that was because I was working on me, being a better me, you know. And it take time.
But you lost. I mean, I for the 22 years that I went straight in prison, and for 25 Mikey did, we lost a lot too.
Yeah.
It seemed like for the time we were together, which was like 4 years, 3.5, I believe. You lost a lot.
Yeah.
But speak to over 30 years of like some of the loved ones that you had to lose, or what those close to you. I know it's hard to have that conversation, but a lot of times we live the life in the streets, and it comes with so many consequences to it that we don't really think that this can happen to us. We think that the people who are in our lives today somehow are going to be there for the rest of our lives. But when you went in at 19 and you came out at the age of 51, speak to that. Like, how many close loved ones did you lose in that time period?
Well, for one, my baby sister, who I was real close to, the kid, we wound up losing her. I lost my aunt Honey Mae. She wound up dying. She died of HIV, and she was dead. She was real sick. And then you had also my mom, my dad.
Sorry to hear that.
Then I lost 2 of my cousins. I lost another cousin, domestic violence. She was more like my sister than my cousin. Then I lost one of my aunts. They sat on fire, stabbed all in her womb, burnt her up and everything, raped her, Then a couple more uncles of mine, I lost them. And the list just continued. Like, it was just like continuously piled up. Even right before I left Broadway, I lost one of my baby sisters to COVID, lost my grandmother, I lost my dad's big brother and his wife. They both died. And the list goes on. These are things that you are not able to think about happening, because you got to still get through your day. You got to still make it through that day in the side of the joint. You gotta survive whatever they coming with. You don't know whether it's coming from the COs, whether it's coming from the guys, whatever the case may be. You got to survive that day. And those losses were just real, and it allowed me to be humble. There was a brother I remember that was close to me, and he asked, how you go to the masjid after your mom passed away? And I told him, how could I not? She didn't pass away just because she thought about dying.
Somebody asked you, typical speed, so how did your sister pass away?
Oh, my sister, she died from an overdose. My baby sister, she had the recent death. My sister, she died from COVID. But my other baby sister, there's a lot of mystery surrounding her situation. But one of them is that she was supposed to have OD, and I was in Auburn at the time. And when I was in Auburn, Nuke was actually with me then, and I was sitting on the floor, and I was just in tears, like, she gone. We were real close. She used to come up all the time, see me and everything, and it was just a touching thing, but it was a humbling experience as well. To make me realize what's good, what's bad, what can happen, what can't happen.
Well, let me just speak to another part of his development.
My little brother put someone poison in.
Yeah. Yo, shout it out, Mike. And the crazy thing is that when I finally got a chance to meet Abdul Kabir in the flesh, because like Mikey B said, in prison, certain names like kind of like resonate throughout the state. And Abdul Kabir's name was one of them. But we knew him for a number of things. But one thing in particular, in terms of his transformation, it's something that was always a part of his identity when he was incarcerated, was the Islam. We knew that this brother was heavy on the deen. He was focused on his Islam, trying to better himself, and not only better himself, but better the lives of the brothers who were in his presence.
Right.
If you were in the prison with Abdul Kabir, right, and you was there,
he pulling you up.
Yeah, it was to the point where everybody knew that if something was gonna go down, you go holler at Abdul Kabir, right? So I want to speak about that because
So why y'all ain't help Disco? He was in y'all block.
Disco. Listen.
Why y'all ain't help Disco?
Listen. Let me tell you something about Sco.
Shout out to Disco, man.
Shout out to Sco, but I wanted to put my hands on
They was
Sco.
in a block with Disco and
No.
together.
We said this on We Locked In before. I wanted to put my hands on Disco every single night. Disco came up and we admitted to this. It was him who was always there trying to, in between, like, y'all are crazy. But, they
was in the same block with Disco when we was all in Shawanga together, you heard?
Oh my God.
In general population, you heard?
Sco drove me crazy. I don't know how his patience,
all the way crazy.
Sco is nuts. But I want to speak to the Islam part because that's such a critical part. And we see on YouTube, we actually did videos on an individual who actually, Charleston White, who made comments about individuals who, while incarcerated, are Muslim and come home. And look, we're in the house right now with a whole household full of Muslims breaking our fast. For the Mikey B, with all due respect, he believes in the Creator, but he's not a Muslim, right? But yet he's up in here, eating with the Muslims during the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah.
And I did that in prison as well.
He did it in prison.
I've done that in prison. I've eaten Ramadan.
He definitely did. I want to speak to you about what Islam meant to you in terms of helping you evolve and become a more responsible individual as a man, and you bringing that back out here with your family.
Well, one of the main factors coming out is that my wife Saweeta, all praises due to Allah. May Allah reward her with good and grant her Jannah. She was definitely an advocate. She was an advocate for us to try to get our trailers. She was an advocate for me to get parole. She was an advocate to see us win. And being inside, my vibe was always, if you violate the brothers, we coming. Plain and simple. That was true. And it wasn't gonna be if and buts and maybe, because at the end of the day, I would tell brothers, that our job is to be Muslim. Don't straddle the fence, because when you straddle the fence, the devil gonna play in your backyard. So stay on the hop, and Allah gonna protect us. And that meant everything to me, because at the end of the day, when you're on the phone and you talking to your wife for 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, you telling her a whole lot of things, and those things that you're telling her, is like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, this is where I'm at, this is the love, and everything else, and like I've been with guys forever, when you talking about guys. I've been with, if Damu started in prison, I was with the brothers who started Damu. King started in prison, I was with all I create. Hunters, you name it. It ain't nobody that don't know me when it comes to that. And I would talk to the heads, because the heads, I don't need to talk to the soldier. I need to go to the head. I'm the head. So I need to go talk to the head. And I need to have a vibe with them, because I need them to know that I'm honorable and I'm trustworthy. So if I say that the brother ain't gonna do this here, that meant the brother wasn't gonna do that. My word meant my bond. You understand what I'm saying? So you ain't have to worry about the brother doing something to you. But I expect the same thing from you. And coming out here, that meant everything to me, to be able to make my word be true to my wife and my family. Because it's like Pac said, penitentiary is packed with promise makers. I didn't want to be a promise maker. I wanted to bring the truth and reality. So today, I'm here. I work 2 jobs. I make a nice salary. We live in a nice house, as you see. Got food all over the floor. This ain't something that's made up.
Great food. You see, y'all see me over here. I'm going in.
All my kids, they Muslim. You don't see me in the visiting room doing Arabic on the board, the same way I got the board right here inside the house. And it's just real. It wasn't something that I was making up. It was what it was meant to be. That the evil, because you got people who are gonna be evil, and I see you, Blanco. What up, bro? That's my guy, man. From way back too. He was my neighbor. That was my neighbor right there, Blanco. But these are guys that know. That live with me, and everybody that know, like y'all know, y'all live with me. you know, I was always gonna stay the person I was. I wasn't gonna try to make up who I was. Wasn't gonna try to be something different. You know,
we ain't got too much time. I know y'all got to do some prayers and y'all got to do some stuff. So let's just get some final thoughts in here. Y'all can ask a couple of questions. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you started writing, what made you write books? What made you start getting into that?
Well, one of the things that made me start writing books was that, you know, I believe that there was a story that needed to be told, but there was also a story that hadn't been told. And because that was the story that hadn't been told, it was my job to tell that story, you know, because a lot of stuff people don't know about, but they're glamorized these other cats. And they're glamorized cats that really don't deserve glamorization, you know. And it was like Blue Boy said when he was on there a couple weeks back about keeping it real. I always knew him to keep it real. I always knew Shaquille to keep it real. You know, these ain't guys that I said, oh yeah, I know Shaquille. I know Mikey B. No, I was in the yard with you.
You know that.
You understand what I'm saying? I was on the heavy bag with you. I was working out with you. I watched you go through changes.
Speaking of working out, you had a bulletproof vest on. You had like a body armor. You lost some weight since you been home.
Yeah, man. I'm up here trying to eat and work at the same time. You know,
you had like body armor.
One of those is that's mine.
You see him? You see pictures of him when he was in prison? He had like body armor on him.
Yeah, I was like,
he used to work out. We used to power lift together.
Get that bottom one.
Me and Kabir used to power lift together. Deadlifting 500, doing all that type of stuff.
You know, and
in Shawanga.
That's a fact.
Squatting 500, deadlifting 500.
You know,
300-400 on the chest.
That's a fact.
Word, right?
That's a fact. Elmira, Clinton, you know, cats know. I go out in the yard, I get up under 500, like it's nothing. 585 squat, back up. You know, hit that about 6 reps. 585 light work. You know,
beast is facts.
Yeah, you see, I got the weights in the house here.
Nah, animal.
Yeah, and you know, it's just that I keep it toned up now because I don't want to get injured. I had got injured before. When I retired, it was like 685, and you know, Allah is merciful, man. He allowed me to get out of injury, and now I work, you know, 2 jobs, and me.
Give me one of them cakes.
Me working the way I work, you know, I try to eliminate a lot of extra stuff in my body. So I got a daughter; she loves organic stuff, loves healthy stuff, you know, and I try to eat more healthy. My wife, she's healthy with all this health stuff as well. So ate a lot of greens, vegetables, and things of that nature, juice, you know.
Thank you.
So yeah, you know, and the lifestyle is about living, you know.
KK, you got any final questions for him? Or KK, you eating like us over there? I see you, KK. You just broke your fast.
Type of melons and fruits and just now we're coming out after all that time. How has the transition been for you?
Coming out home, how you feel, man?
Oh man, I feel blessed. You know, I feel blessed, and by being blessed, you know, there's no time for me to stress. You know, I got my driver's license. I've been up and running. I got me a car outside, and got some decent employment. You know, I went and got certified. I got certified in driving forklift and all this other stuff. Certified in handling chemical. So all these things are learning process, and I'm still learning. You know, every now and then I still go to certain body language that makes my senses go off, being away so long and going in as a young man. But you know, I'm strong. I'm focused. You know, and being focused, I ain't letting nobody take me off that focus.
Yeah, that's good, bro. Yo, Moshe, you got any final words or questions?
Nah.
So you can close out whatever you want to say, my brother. Anything you want the people to know?
You know, Allah is merciful. That's one of the things I always want brothers to know. All the brothers that are away, who families are watching, you know, I shout you out. You know, I know the struggle.
Support your people in prison.
You know, and never
write them a letter, JP.
You know, all these brothers that you're seeing as your homies, your man, and them, keep it real with them. You know, check them. You know, it's nothing to go get a stamp. It's nothing to go and put a stamp on the envelope and just tell somebody, yo, I'd like to take that 5 minutes out instead of talking about nothing and check for them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, you're saying that's your man. You know, saying that really means something. If that's your comrade, then sure it's your comrade. You know, mothers that got sons locked away, don't forget your sons. No matter what they may have went through, they still came out of you. You know, fathers, don't forget you helped make them play a role in their life. You know, and the women, there's so many women that are being incarcerated. Let us not forget none of them, because a lot of them go through changes and hardships. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, I just want to say that and shout out to all my brothers. That I know too many people just to name one or two. You know, so all the brothers that's upstate, all the brothers that are serving time, know that I think about you. I love you. You're not forgotten. You get at me, you holler at me. I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. My wife is on Facebook, but you can actually get to me at my email, mahmoudalmateen at 2021gmail.com. You can reach me, and I'll definitely hit you right back.
Hit the brother up, man.
Please, man. Yo, unfortunately, man, you know, this was not unfortunate, but you know, we have to go to the masjid to offer the evening prayer, the late evening prayer. You know, I'm your host, Moshe Candy. Thank you everybody for out there for tuning in. My brother right here, Mikey B. Y'all already know what it is. My other
I
brother.
wish I was there with y'all right now, me.
Yeah.
You down there, you in Georgia, you
You
good.
in Atlanta, ATL.
You know, you good. Come
Oh,
on,
make
man.
sure y'all tune in, man. Tell the people, make sure they tune in to B100 Radio, man. After y'all get off this, man, y'all can go in there and watch B100 Radio.
Weekend party, right?
Hold on, we want to
They got some artists on there today. Rich Soul, group called Rich Soul.
Where you at? We in the building. We in the building. We here. Cool. They can see your eyeball. They can see your eye.
Yeah.
All right, yo, listen, man. We love y'all out there.
Yeah.
Support, man. We truly appreciate that. Unfortunately, man, we couldn't go longer. His brother definitely has a story, but you know, the brother is out now. He's doing positive things, man. And by Allah's permission, man, we out here, man.
Yeah, we get him back up here.
Absolutely, man. Inshallah, man. We locked in,
Keep
y'all.
putting that work in, man.
All right, peace.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Sadie B, FaceTime your cousin.
Sadie B,
we locked in, back in effect. You know what it is.
Salute to the track. Salute to the people.
Find freedom in you.
Find the freedom in you. That's right. We locked in. Peace.
Love y'all. Sound like.
All right.